Hey everyone, welcome back to FT News. I'm Myra. And today we need to talk about Lainey Wilson's wedding because this honestly feels like one of the most beautiful celebrity weddings we've seen in a long time. Not because it was the most expensive, not because it was the flashiest, but because it actually felt personal, real. And if you know anything about Lainey Wilson, that makes perfect sense. Lainey officially married former NFL quarterback Devlin "Duck" Hodges on May 10th in Tennessee, and the entire wedding sounds like something straight out of a country love story movie. A waterfall ceremony, a horse-drawn carriage, a cave reception, a live Cajun jazz band. And somehow, it still sounded intimate instead of overproduced. But the biggest surprise of all? Lainey Wilson wore a dress. And apparently, that was a huge deal for her personally. Because if you've followed Lainey for years, you know her entire public image has basically been built around bell-bottoms, country glam, hats, denim, and pantsuits. That's her signature style. So seeing her step into this massive custom Oscar de la Renta wedding gown instantly became one of the biggest talking points online. And honestly, the dress sounded incredible. The gown reportedly featured tiny Japanese cherry blossoms sewn around the neckline and scattered throughout the design. According to Lainey, the cherry blossoms symbolized living in the moment, which honestly matches the entire vibe of this wedding perfectly. It wasn't trying too hard. It wasn't screaming luxury every second. It sounded emotional first. And that's what people are reacting to. Lainey even admitted this was basically the first time she had ever truly worn a dress like this, which makes the moment feel even more meaningful. Instead of looking uncomfortable or forced into some celebrity bridal image, she apparently wanted the gown to still feel like her. That balance is hard to pull off, especially for celebrities today, because a lot of high-profile weddings now feel more like brand campaigns than actual emotional moments. But everything about this wedding sounds grounded in who Lainey and Duck actually are as people. Even the location has a funny backstory. Apparently, the two were driving through Tennessee when they randomly saw a billboard for Ruskin Cave. Duck jokingly asked if they should get married there, and Lainey immediately said yes. That spontaneous energy kind of defines their whole relationship. The ceremony itself happened beside a waterfall on a cobblestone ledge, which honestly sounds insanely cinematic. Lainey arrived in a white horse-drawn carriage with her father before walking down the aisle toward Duck while surrounded by waterfalls, birds, and spring breeze sounds. It sounds less like a celebrity wedding and more like the ending scene of a romance movie. And then there's Duck himself. Even though Lainey is obviously the superstar in this relationship publicly, people genuinely seem to love their dynamic together because he comes across as incredibly supportive and low-key. Lainey constantly describes him as her biggest cheerleader, and honestly, you can feel that energy in how she talks about him. Even their engagement sounded deeply personal. Duck proposed back in 2025 at George Jones' estate in Tennessee, which clearly meant a lot to Lainey because George Jones is basically country music royalty. According to her, he decorated the front porch with rose petals and framed photos from their relationship before proposing. And honestly, that sounds way more romantic than some giant over-the-top Hollywood proposal involving helicopters and fireworks. It felt thoughtful. That's probably why fans are reacting so positively to this entire wedding story. Nothing about it sounds fake. Even the reception reflected Lainey's Louisiana roots. Instead of turning everything into some ultra-modern celebrity event, she reportedly brought in Cajun food from her own bar and hired a 12-piece jazz band called Rebirth to perform. That's such a specific personal touch. And apparently after the ceremony, guests literally marched together in a traditional second-line celebration toward cocktail hour before heading into the cave reception. That image alone sounds unforgettable. One thing that really stands out reading all the details is how much family mattered during this wedding. Lainey's mother reportedly led the dinner prayer. Her father walked her down the aisle. Her family helped her prepare before the ceremony. Even the way Lainey talks about the day feels centered around family and emotional memories rather than celebrity spectacle. And honestly, that's probably why this wedding story exploded online so quickly. People are exhausted by curated celebrity perfection. This felt warmer. There's also something really interesting about the timing of this wedding for Lainey personally, because right now she's arguably bigger than ever. Her music career exploded over the last few years. She crossed into acting through Yellowstone. Her documentary just released recently. Her life is moving incredibly fast. And yet this wedding sounds intentionally simple in spirit despite all the luxury details. That contrast actually makes the story stronger. Instead of chasing the biggest headline possible, it feels like Lainey wanted a moment that reflected where she came from before fame completely changed everything. And honestly, she succeeded. The little details are what make the story memorable. The waterfall, the cave, the cowboy hat proposal box, the old white Ford truck they drove away in at the end of the night. It all sounds very specifically them, not manufactured. And that's rare now. Even online reactions have been surprisingly emotional because fans have watched Lainey's rise happen in real time over the last several years. A lot of people feel connected to her story because she never really abandoned the country roots that made people fall in love with her in the first place. She still feels approachable despite becoming a massive star. And this wedding somehow reinforced that image even more. At the end of the day, the biggest reason this story is getting attention isn't just because Lainey Wilson got married. It's because the wedding reflected exactly who fans believe she is. Authentic, emotional, grounded, Southern, romantic without trying too hard. And honestly, that's probably why people are loving this story so much online right now. This is Myra from FT News signing off.